grammar. That was the second variant. Yeah. बोलना है किसी को कुछ? Okay, so we have an operator precedence grammar, which is nothing but, or operator precedence parser. Basically, instead of a grammar here, because we require to do an operator precedence, so first we'll talk about an operator precedence parser, that is OPP, and this OPP is nothing but to test what is an operator precedence parser. OPP stands for operator precedence parser. To test whether it is an operator precedence parser, you require an operator precedence grammar. So in the last lecture, those students who have not downloaded the slide or if not being able to do it, I'm just reiterating them. Please take necessary corrections in the books wherever you have written about operator precedence grammar. Now, the basic definition of an operator precedence grammar, to test whether the given grammar is an operator precedence grammar or not, we have to follow two rules. So these are the two conditions which needs to be followed. The first condition is there should not be a lambda or an epsilon symbol. It can be an lambda symbol or an epsilon symbol. So there should not be any lambda transition, or we can say there should not be any epsilon on the right hand side of the given grammar. So this is the first rule to test whether their grammar is an operator precedence grammar or not, or to satisfy that whether it is an operator precedence grammar or not. Since people are joining. And the second rule that needs to be satisfied is there is no production rule which contain two non-terminal adjacent to each other in the RHS. So the second rule that need to be satisfied that by the grammar is no two non-terminals should be adjacent to each other. Now, no two non-terminals, you know what is non-terminal. All conventionally non-terminals are written in capital letters. So no two non-terminals means there should not be two non-terminals which are adjacent to each other. If that is the case, then the grammar will not be called as an operator precedence grammar. So based on this particular rule, now I have also told you that it is not that only one rule has to be applied. You have to check if the first rule doesn't apply, then you have to look for the second rule. So both the rules have to be applied. It is not an or condition, it is this and this. So both the condition has to be tested to state whether the grammar is to, or to satisfy whether the grammar has to be called as an operator precedence grammar or not. Last lecture I have told you operator precedence parser is basically used in your day-to-day life, which you most of the time use calculators. So operator precedence parser is being implemented into your calculator wherein this is working. So what is basically is an infix notation. So you are writing 1 plus 2 plus 3 is an infix notation. It will be converted into postfix notation. As I've told you, when you go to the third phase of an compiler, that is an intermediate code representation phase, I'll tell you we have to solve problems of converting a string from an infix notation to an postfix notation. However, by now postfix is basically also called as a reverse polish notation. So this is how an operator precedence parser is being implemented in calculators. Now, we have seen an example of an operator precedence parser. As you can see on the screen, there are productions which are being written. So there is a production E goes to EAE, E goes to open bracket, E close bracket, E goes to minus E and ID. You have an A production which has a number of operators to it, that is plus, minus, star, division and exponential. Now cap operator. Now, if you look at this particular parser, we have to grammar, we have to test whether this particular grammar is an operator precedence grammar or not. As I've given you already the rules to test whether this particular grammar is an operator precedence grammar, we have to look on the right hand side of this particular grammar and see whether you are getting a lambda symbol or an epsilon symbol. If you look at in that box, there is no lambda or an epsilon symbol on the right hand side of the given production. So first rule is not there. We look at the second rule. The second rule indicates that there should not be two non-terminals which are adjacent to each other. Now look at the first production, E goes to EAE. So this E is a non-terminal, A is a non-terminal, again E is a non-terminal. So this particular production violates that particular rule, and therefore the grammar will be considered as not an operator precedence grammar. So if that grammar is not an operator precedence grammar, that does not mean that you have to discard that particular grammar. You have to see whether you can convert that grammar into an operator precedence grammar or not. So if I have put a cross here indicating that this grammar is not an operator precedence grammar, because the second rule that is being given to define a grammar as an OPG does not satisfy. Therefore, we have to see whether a grammar can be written in a different form so that it can be that two rules can be satisfied and the grammar can be called as an operator precedence grammar. As I've told you, when you are using a second phase of an compiler, we have defined grammars. There are different types of grammar called as type 0, type 1, type 2, and type 3 grammar. And I have told you that we will be using a context free grammar, that is of the form a goes to pi. Replacement can be done. Therefore, look at the a which is being here, this a values which is having plus, minus, star, division and exponential. All this a value can be substituted into this particular production. So this substitution is valid because we are using a context